Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the fourth film in the Rambo franchise, and it is simply named Rambo, and it was released in 2008. Now this film was written and directed by Sylvester Stallone, and it stars obviously Sylvester Stallone, Julie Benz, Matthew Marsden and Graham McTavish. Now this was a film, before it was released, was a lot of people were very skeptical about, including myself. However, just prior to this, he had released Rocky Balboa to commercial and critical success. So he was on riding a bit of a wave. He was on a bit of a comeback, Stallone. But still, a lot of people weren't sure about this Rambo film because it was 20 years since the last one. And I think after it was released, a lot of people, including myself, were a little bit blown away by this film, as it was a real return to form for the Rambo franchise. And it focuses on John Rambo, who at the end of Rambo 3 he heads back to Thailand, and he has lived in Thailand for the last 20 years, and he's essentially a snake. He captures snakes for a living and sells them on, and that's his business. And he's a boatman as well. He travels up and down the river on his boat, travelling people about. And he is visited by some Christian aid workers who want to get into the war-torn Burma to offer aid. And Rambo refuses. He thinks it's a waste of time and it's too dangerous, and he basically says forget it. However, he's talked into it by Julie Benz's character Sarah, and he ends up taking them into Burma. However, it doesn't go well. The Christian aid workers are captured, tortured, and it's up to Rambo to initially transport a bunch of mercenaries who have been hired by their church to try and mount a rescue. However, these mercenaries have no idea who this boatman is, and it's up to John Rambo to essentially save the day. Right, so as I say, when this was released in 2008, there was not a lot of people expecting much from this film, and I do think it surprised a lot of people, because I do think it was a really quite clever film. And if after watching this film, I've watched obviously all four now on this box set, reviewed the first three, and I've enjoyed them all. I've revisited them all, and I've really enjoyed them. But I watched this one last night with my wife, who's never seen Rambo, the fourth Rambo, and it reminded me just how good this film is, in a sense of he really went for this realistic style with this one, Stallone, and he wanted to shine a light on Burma and all the atrocities that were taking place in that country, and he massively succeeded. There were actually people on the crew, and the actor as well that played the bad guy, who put themselves at personal risk to be in this film because they had family in Burma. And from what I can understand, copies of this film in Burma were essentially, if he were found with a copy of this film in Burma, it was a life imprisonment, which was just astounding to think about. But it was really popular, and it was actually very useful in shining a light on everything that was going on in Burma. So in that sense, I think Stallone made this film a real success. And the Rambo films have always focused on like a hotbed of issues in the world, to a large degree, and this one I think was easily the most successful at doing that. It was really wonderful to see Stallone back as Rambo after 20 years in the wilderness, not being bothered. Essentially he was just not part of society anymore, and you see him at the beginning of this film. He's just like some monstrous beast, in the sense of he's no interest in humanity, and he's no interest in helping, and he essentially has completely withdrawn from society. And then you kind of see him throughout the film slowly. It's a bit contradictory for him really, because he's slowly tapping back into his humanity, but at the same time he also has to tap into that animalistic side of him to survive and to save others that need saving. So it's really well done in that sense, and it's the first film we really see where Rambo is not the only main character. He works with these mercenaries, and even though he ends up saving a lot of them, there are a couple of scenes where he couldn't have got through without the assistance of these mercenaries as well. So I thought that was really nice. It showed that he wasn't a one-man killing machine in this film, and he did need assistance, and that was really, really pleasant to see. And the violence in this was just off the charts, literally limbs flying off, realistic effects to what would happen if you would be hit by the bullets from some of these weapons that they were being fired at. Really brutal scenes, and there's a scene, the scene where the Burma military invade the camp where the Christian aid workers are. That 5-10 minute sequence where they're just decimating everybody and murdering women and children, and very, very difficult to watch. Very, very difficult to watch. So I do applaud this film for that. It's the first film in the franchise that doesn't feel like it's glorifying violence. So I don't think the first one did, because I don't think that you don't get that vibe. But certainly Rambo 2 and Rambo 3, they felt like cartoons, and they kind of felt like they were glorifying violence. And this one doesn't do it at all. It feels more grounded in reality and far more brutal than you're ever used to. So I do agree with Stallone. This is his second favourite Rambo, and it's my second favourite Rambo. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. It's great entertainment, but also it's grounded in reality and very, very brutal, and definitely a real return to form for the franchise. So that is my review for Rambo. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rambo Last Blood now, after revisiting all these films. I'm going to go and see it later today, and hopefully I can get the review up later on this evening. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.